Many of you who are just getting into fashion or you've done some research on fashion design have heard the phrase tech pack. And those of you who are already in fashion design know exactly what a tech pack is and why it's so important to you and your sample maker. A great tech pack can save you a lot of headaches and a lot of money. So it's worth your time to understand what a tech pack is and what information needs to be included in it. So let's talk about it.
So what is a tech pack? A tech pack is your blueprint to creating a physical sample of your design. This is how you tell someone what materials should be used, what color it is, where those materials and colors should go, how big or small something is, how it should fit, how it should be constructed, even how it should be labeled and packed. Any important detail that someone needs to create a replica of what's going on in your mind should make its way into that tech pack. The first page is usually the black and white flat sketch of your design. You'll want to show a front and back view and possibly a side or three-quarter view if you need to show any feature of your design that's on the side of your garment or may wrap from front to back. The sketches should be very specific, making sure all construction details are present. It should also be proportional and reflect the correct lengths and fit of your design. Unlike an illustration, a flat sketch that's featured in a tech pack should be a true reflection of how your design should fit and how it should be constructed. You should also include your logo and basic information about the design: the designer's name, season, style number, style description, the sample size, and the date. This information should also be listed on all your pages. You may also want to add something somewhere that says your tech pack is confidential and your property, just to cover yourself should a sample room decide they want to share your designs with someone else. Next is your details page. The details page points out or shows blow-ups of the details in your design. Sometimes it can be as simple as you creating callouts that point to special features and overall style information like pockets, hem finishes, a drop tail, and the fit. If those features are very detailed, you may decide to blow them up bigger so they're easier to see and understand. Occasionally, you may also need to create separate sketches so that a pattern or sample maker understands better your intent or how it's constructed. Note that you may have multiple details pages, particularly if you're designing something like technical or performance outerwear, which usually has a lot of detail. Next, you have a measurements page. Keep in mind that these measurements are design measurements, not a spec sheet. And what's the difference? A spec sheet will contain, at the very least, your basic measurements for that type of garment. These are like your must-haves in order for you to construct the garment. For instance, if you're creating a top, you'll want to include a body length, a neck opening, cross-shoulder measurement, armhole circumference or armhole straight measurements, chest width, sweep. And many times these are based on a block fit, meaning they're based on something you've already done before and know it fits well. So you're probably going to take those measurements straight from the previous spec sheet with maybe some minor tweaks like a longer body length or shorter sleeve length, something like that. A spec sheet should be included in your tech pack, but depending on whether you work for a company or you're a consultant, it may or may not be your job to do this. If you work for a company with a technical design team or you work with a technical designer, they can create a spec sheet for you. Otherwise, you'll need to create this yourself. Design measurements are the measurements that are unique to your new creation, and they're indicative of the designer's intent. Only you will know exactly what you want, and you don't want to leave this to someone else's interpretation. So here, you will normally draw lines with or without arrows to specify the size and placement of your style lines. Be detailed here, and no, you're not guessing these measurements. Most people find a similar style and then tape the garment with their new design lines. You can use skinny masking tape about 1/8 of an inch wide, or you can use Scotch tape, which is probably easier to get. Add the tape to your garment and then draw your new style lines on top of the tape. Now you have an actual garment you can measure to complete your measurements page. The next page is a stitch reference page. This page points out the type of stitching that should be used in your design. You can keep it as basic as double needle top stitching or single needle top stitch. For multi-needle stitching, you can also specify the needle spacing or the gauge. For example, non-stretch items have a 1/4 inch gauge, while you'll usually see an 1/8 of an inch gauge for stretch fabrics. The last few pages are your BOMs, short for Bill of Materials. And I like to break this up as a fabric BOM and a trim BOM. Sometimes you may even see separate BOMs for zippers, labels, and packaging as well. A BOM is basically a chart that specifies what material you're using, what mill it's from, the mill reference number or code, a description of the fabric or trim including fiber content, fabric weight, and any technologies like water resistance, stain resistance, wicking, recycled, where the material is placed, upper sleeve, lower collar, center front, hand pockets, and what color or finish that material should come in. Be sure to include not only outer fabrics, but also linings, interlinings, and insulation if you're doing outerwear.
If you're new to tech packing, you can download my free Illustrator tech pack template, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. It contains all the pages that we've talked about, and it's ready for you to just add your information. I'll also add a link to a great stitch matrix, which you can reference if you're unfamiliar with the ISO terminology, which is the International Standard Classification for Industrial Machine Stitches. Now, you don't have to use this in your tech pack, but what I love about this document is that it's a visual guide. So it shows you exactly what your stitches look like on the front and the back side of your garment. So if you want something specific, you'll know exactly what to ask for. A tech pack can take some time to complete because there's a lot of information that needs to be included. But taking that extra time to make it as complete and detailed as possible can save you time and money. Taking an extra hour to check through your tech pack could be the difference between getting a great sample that you can show to a buyer and put on the runway versus a horrible sample that's poorly constructed, unshowable, and a waste of hundreds of dollars. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time.